Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. On the same theme, we as humans feel frustrated at life and the events of life. We find lack of control and we receive impressions from the world that cause inner discomfort. Now we go through that continuously. And as opposed to us fulfilling ourselves, we feel more and more constricted and deprived of ourselves. What we don't understand is that this world is not really an active world. The world is mere stage in which there are different players playing their roles. We are not really beholden to the world. The world does not, in the rightest sense, influence us. It is entirely up to us how we interact with events and how we interact with the world. But because of our early conditioning, we have emerged as human beings who have become passive, who gain impressions and we interpret them negatively. What we forget is that we are the real authors of the world. The world is a mere reflection of how we see it from within ourselves. If things from within can change, the things from outside will appear very, very different. Just think of a very simple example. From our childhood, we are looking at a moon within the heavens. The moon has not changed. It takes hundreds of millions of years for the moon to change significantly. So in the brief duration of our life, the moon hasn't changed. But there comes a point in our lives when it starts looking beautiful. It means something far more than it has ever meant before. We see its luminosity. We get filled with awe and wonderment. We feel a sense of appreciation. We observe its beauty. Whereas previously, it was just another event. The moon has not changed. Its cycle has not changed. What has changed is something inside me. And then that is reflected by the moon. So the statement, how beautiful is the full moon, is a statement not about the moon, about the one who perceives the moon. We make the moon beautiful. Similarly, we impose sense of beauty and ugliness on the world. And then, when we are met with the ugliness, we frown upon it. We interact adversely with it. What we don't understand is that we have created that ugliness. But this thing is so deeply ingrained within us that it does not spare any aspect of our lives. We have done the same thing with our God. Our God, in this sense, is a projection of what we want Him to be. It's amazing. We construct an image of God in our minds. And then we pray to God. And then He does not respond. And then we get frustrated. And then we start denying the God that we are worshipping. Do you even exist? Are you even kind? Are you even merciful? What sort of a God are you? The heavens are either weeping and lamenting, or they're either laughing at our state. They are saying to us, you created your own God, and now you're rejecting your own God. When was He ever a God in the first place? It was a mere projection of you, yourself. If we can acquire a befitting attitude from within, if we can know that we are here to understand things, to awaken to things, to receive experiences, then our attitude and outlook towards life would be a very different attitude and an outlook. How amazing is the story of the people in the falls of Hussein ibn Ali. Whereas people lie, cheat, kill, deceive to secure their lives, the band of Hussein, with open arms, were rushing in front of naked swords, and they took great pleasure in this blade penetrating within their skin and their bodies. One flees from it, thinking of death as the greatest calamity. Another rushes towards it with a smile on his face, thinking of it as the greatest bestowal. How wonderful is the state of Hur. When Habib asks him, as his head lay in the lap of Hussein ibn Ali, as he was about to breathe his last, and Habib asked him, Hur, why do you break into a smile? Is the messenger of God quenching your thirst with the goblets of Kawthar? Hur said, no, O Habib. He said, then why, O Hur? Why such delight? He said, because I find my head in the lap of this man. So the world outside is not the real world that we have imagined it to be. It is not imposing upon us misery and joy. We are creating a sense of joy and misery. We are projecting upon the world outside. Then we are receiving it again. And then we feel misery and joy not knowing that we are the authors. We can change it at any point we like. As opposed to liking and disliking, hating and loving, we need to revert into ourselves and try and ask ourselves, how real is any of it? With me changing my attitude, everything around me changes. I will give an example of a person sitting on a plane and they are faced with harsh turbulence. You can see the panic on the person, not knowing what will happen. Next to them is a person who is a frequent flyer. They have encountered these turbulences on many occasions. They are just calm. Next to them is a person who is asleep, who doesn't understand what has happened, who is not even aware of the situation. Next to them is a suicidal person who is thanking God that he is being spared from the option of committing suicide and being allowed the option of dying natural death. Next to them is a person who is intoxicated, who feels he is in a theme park with all the turbulence and is laughing and rejoicing. It's what goes on inside that allows us to understand what is outside. What we need to understand is that we are not beholden to the earth or to the world or to paradise or to hell. We flee from a hell that we have imagined. We yearn a paradise that we have created. If only we could understand that the paradise, even though it exists, the paradise that I've conjured in my mind has no value in the way that I have given it value. And I cannot sell myself to a paradise that is so bodily and worldly. And I cannot flee from hell that is so tormenting. I need to overcome these inner states and learn that I am the author and create a world, a befitting world, in which I can fulfill my purpose properly. Otherwise, I'm drifting away, projecting my own inner insecurities upon the world and upon God, and not awakening to the real opportunity and not attaining myself substantively. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I would like us to reflect, if we can change our inner state and make the world a more beneficial place,